years.
Everybody, we all make the same mistake. You get success, and then you have an overconfidence cycle, and you apply, and you think everything you do is going to be successful.
Right.
And you're wrong. Tactics is 10% of success, always. 90% of freaking success is perception.
It's like things don't happen to you, they happen for you. If it's going to happen, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Exactly. You know, you fight long enough and you fight hard enough and you never give up and you stay true and committed to the real reason that you're doing what you're doing, the real vision, the real purpose, and you'll have your breakthroughs.
You don't want things to be easy. You don't want everybody to tell you yes, man, because you're not relatable to nobody. You imagine making $1 million income, passive income. One day you're gonna wish that you had more of these challenges in your life. You're gonna wish one day you have more challenges to tell more stories. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Driven Not Given podcast. And very often I have a treat for you guys. Today, I've got the biggest treat of them all, right? I've got a man that I look up to a ton. I followed for over a decade before he was in this industry. And I don't look at him as an entrepreneur. I look at him as not only an entrepreneur, but a visionary. And he's the one and only, the CEO of the most disruptive solar company in the world, Mr. Jonathan Budd. Mr. Jonathan Budd, how you doing, my brother?
It's great to be here with you, brother.
Thank you, man. Before we get started, I want to say I'm incredibly honored that you gave me the opportunity to interview you, because you don't do a whole lot of podcasts these days, do you?
No, sir.
No. So anyways, very excited. The team is excited to have this interview going, and I've got a ton of questions to ask you. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it.
It's all my honor, my friend.
Thank you. But before we go into the business side, every time I see you, man, I mean, you're always in great shape. Talk to me about your routine, man. How often do you work out per week?
As much as I can,
Yeah.
if I'm not screwing myself up, quite honestly. My whole goal is just not to injure myself.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think a lot of times, you know, I know you, I've seen your videos, I've seen your training regimen.
Yeah.
You know, if you're driven, you know, you've got these other pursuits. And so for me, discipline with my body is just as important to keep my mindset aligned and my purpose aligned and my life aligned as the business or all these things. It's all got to come together.
Right, right.
So I treat it as a number one priority for the purpose of being the best I can possibly be.
That's awesome.
And it helps me focus and hone in that way. So
I love it. I love it. Nowadays, you see that a lot more, right? A trait of a successful entrepreneur, business person, very often, unlike before, they take care of their bodies, they take care of their health, they work out, right?
Absolutely.
You usually get your workouts in the morning or in the evening, or how do you do it?
Honestly, whenever I can.
Got it.
I built a gym in
it.
the office.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, in between any meetings, in between whatever, I got to shuffle the schedule sometimes. You know, my biggest block is myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's when I am injuring myself or going too hard or messing myself up, which slows me down.
Yeah.
So my whole goal is to stay in the momentum,
Right.
don't get out of momentum, and how high can I take this thing? How
Right.
big can I go?
Right.
So one day, maybe I could be working out every single day, right?
Yeah.
But I've got to learn how to get there and keeping myself in check and not injuring myself and not pushing too hard. It's an art and a science.
Very nice. And you and I, you're 39, right?
38.
38. I'm 39, so we're right around the same age. And I do notice that on that aspect, you know, I started training when I was 11 in martial arts, and I remember going into the karate school and, you know, without stretching or anything, I used to throw jump spin back kicks on the right. And then the guys that are in their 30s and 40s would look at me and chuckle and say, you're not going to be able to do that forever.
That's the truth.
Right? And now that I'm 39, I realize, oh, I got to stretch out. I got to warm up, man, because I can't do that forever the way I was when I was a kid. So you see those things in life. And yeah, injuries definitely happen, man, especially when you don't take care of yourself. And I like to go get a massage once a month, and I go to the chiropractor once a week because you feel it, man.
Yeah, and keep the tune-ups. I'm injured always,
Yeah.
honestly. If you know me and you know my life, you make fun of me for how often I'm injured.
Really?
I am constantly beating myself up.
Why? Because you work out like you go pretty hard.
I
when
push
you go.
it too hard. You know,
Yeah.
there's some way I either push it too hard or I'm just not present or conscious. Like yesterday when I got this completely busted toe.
Oh, man.
Because I'm storming around like a bull and I stubbed my toe on something and I don't know, I might have broke the damn thing. You know? So it's kind of like that. It's like one thing after another with me. So it's the laugh. I'm the laughing joke of our household. And
Well, I will say this: it doesn't surprise me that you go all out when you work out, because that's kind of your personality. You're like you're all out. You know what I mean? Look what's happening with this company. So, on the switching gears to the business side, I'm curious to know what was it? I do know, but for the audience, what is it you were doing before Powur?
a variety of things, but I would say I was, I sort of started like everyone really in this industry or in Powur. I was an independent consultant for a direct sales company, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I wanted to have freedom, and I wanted to be able to have no income on my ceilings, and I wanted my abilities and pursuits to not be capped, and to be able to take that wherever I wanted to go. So I was young, I was 22 years old, I was in a direct sales company, and failing pretty miserably, like most often happens. You've got to cut your teeth, you got to struggle. But my struggle brought me to the internet, and it brought me, looking for solutions for how I was going to grow my business, advertise my business. And I just never gave up. I was the same sort of pig-headed, stubborn bull, just with no experience or talents or network, So anyways, I got online and I really figured some shit out. I cracked the code and was able to create that lifestyle and that business that I wanted within direct sales, and I could do it pretty much in any company I was in or wanted to do it with. And then eventually people saw that success, and they all started going, teach me. This was very early days, 07. And the internet was, all this stuff, social media, YouTube. I mean, this was like, it was just starting. And I was kind of there, I saw that future, I caught that wave, I found myself at the forefront of technology and all these platforms, and so then I started teaching everybody how to do it, and I built a really great coaching, consulting, and marketing business, started putting on seminars and training events and creating courses and coaching programs, and just went gangbusters and taught hundreds of thousands of people how to use online mediums and to grow their business. And at the end of the day, really become an entrepreneur and reach their goals in life. That was kind of my mission back then. It was really empowering entrepreneurs. But over time, the generic nature of just empowering entrepreneurs, I felt good about helping somebody become who they were capable of becoming. But at the end of the day, I didn't know what products they were out there selling. I didn't know if they took that knowledge and went out there and started selling, cigarettes, for all I know, or whatever the hell it was. And I just wasn't feeling fulfilled in the actual product. I wanted to take my skills and abilities and gifts and apply it to an industry where the product itself was going to have an extremely material impact on humanity and the future of our world. And that's really the seed that started to germinate in me and sent me off on my quest, which ultimately led to Powur.
So tell me about the trip from because that's very interesting. Most entrepreneurs are like, I want to build a successful business. And if I can help people in general, just blanket help people, and I make money, that's good enough. But for you, it was a lot more than just having a successful business and making money. So how far after that, tell me about the Amazon trip, that famous Amazon trip.
So 2011, I got invited to go down to the Amazon rainforest with the Pachamama Alliance by my friend Jim Bunch. And we were both part of that organization and donors to that organization. And that organization was really influential on both of us. It got us really thinking about the role we play in the bigger picture of life. What are the trends that are shaping humanity? What are the trends shaping our future and where we're going, and how do we all participate and contribute to that? And there was such a deep hunger in me, man. I mean, I was just hungry for it. So I lost a lot of the passion for what I was doing, quite honestly, and my life just started to change trajectory, and I began this quest for like, what's next? The money and the social media influencer status, it wasn't fulfilling. There was some part of me that was just like, great, been there, done that, still want more. And so I went on this quest, And that, unique invitation, I don't think sometimes people understand how their entire life trajectory can be changed by a single invitation,
Right.
by a single event,
True.
whatever it might be. That trip to the Amazon was that. I went down there, and just being in an environment that is so different, right? Spending time in the Amazon freaking rainforest,
right.
deep in the heart of it.
Wow.
There's no fucking grid.
Right.
You know what? There's no Walgreens. You're in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. Man. You are hundreds of miles from civilization. So, and the people that live there, the indigenous tribes, they have been there for thousands of years.
Wow.
This is their home. This is their land. Sure. This is where they've been living. So thatched huts.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Wow.
So just being in an environment so different and coming to understand the world through their eyes and experience, like, holy shit.
Right.
There are some real parallel universes happening right here on Earth.
Right. Right.
That kind of like perspective change for people is so powerful, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the world in ways that expand what's possible for you. You see it so different. And I saw it in such a different way. And I, in a ceremony with the elder shamans of this tribe, I had a mystical experience, a true, straight up mystical experience.
Right.
And I've had a few of these in my life, but this was one of them.
Right.
And I received the vision that became Powur. And it was a crystal clear voice, a crystal clear feeling, like I was receiving this vision and this voice and this commandment, if you will.
Wow.
From what I relate to as the spirit of life itself.
Yes.
That was very alive in that rainforest. You're so surrounded by life. This is the most biodiverse place in the entire world.
Yeah.
There's more life here than anywhere else in the world. And you're surrounded by it, and boom, this vision comes through.
Man.
Go back and start this first of its kind solar energy company.
Yes.
And solve this giant problem that's happening in the world.
Very interesting. And was solar in your radar before this trip? Were you considering it or no?
I will cite one other strange experience I had when I was 24. In my 20s, I meditated a lot more than I do today. I don't actually meditate traditional meditation nearly as much as I used to. But that's okay, because I think my focus is more on making life a meditation now.
Right.
And that meditative awareness is really a practice. It's a discipline. It's an integrate into your life kind of skill. So I don't focus on it so much. But in my 20s, I would meditate for hours a day.
Wow.
Hours at a time.
Huh.
I would just sit in stillness and sit in silence.
Wow.
And open myself and let beingness just emerge. And when I was 24, there was this very strange sensation I had in a meditation. I remember I was probably 2 hours into this meditation, and I felt a, sort of like energy enter my crown up here, and I associated it with two words: sustainable energy. And this was 2008, so I knew nothing about sustainable energy back then. But it's hard to describe these experiences, right? There's so much mystical shit happening in this. There's so much we don't understand.
Sure. But
this experience, there was two words associated: sustainable energy, and then I felt $1 billion. Like, what would that feel like? Like, it was this feeling that I'd never felt before of like what's possible. And at the time, I had a successful business, right? I was making $1 million a year or something like that.
Sure.
But this felt like $1 billion.
Wow.
It felt absolutely massive. And it was like this reference point where I always kind of like, I was like, what the hell happened that day in that meditation? I just felt sustainable energy, $1 billion, and like this interest, this like sort of interest peaked.
Sure.
And I think that might have been the first time the universe was trying to guide me in this direction, trying to guide me in some way.
Sure.
But then the experience in the Amazon was just absolute crystal clear, because there was no real formation in my mind of a solar company or anything prior to this point. And immediately following that Amazon experience, I had crystal clarity that I needed to go back and start some kind of new solar company.
Wow.
And I had no idea what that was because I had
Yes.
zero solar experience,
Right.
no energy experience. It was just this fucking vision.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Wow.
it was a trip, man.
Oh yeah, and see that's the thing about entrepreneurs, right? You got a vision and you knew nothing about that industry, but you went out there and took action and you put one foot in front of the other, and now look, right? The news just came out. Inc. 500, number 43, 3 years in a row on the Inc. 500 list, and it all started from you having a vision, had no idea anything about the industry, but you went out. So for example, when you got back to civilization, what were your initial steps when you got back to make this vision a
Well,
reality?
I mean, for the first 2 years, I was pretty much chicken shit.
Oh wow.
You know, I had this vision, but I was not ready to act on it.
Got it.
It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
There was a process I was still going through. You know, I was kind of winding down my old businesses, and sometimes it's hard to let go of what you're attached to.
Yeah.
And there was a process for me where I had to really come to a conclusion that I was truly not meant to spend any of my time or energy at all focused on these old businesses
Wow.
anymore, which was hard because I was making
Yes.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to literally go to this place where the businesses all started, you know, not doing as well. You know, I just had way less energy. It was just it had to be super clear to me that let this go.
Right.
Fully let it go. This is not your path anymore. Come over to this new path. And really, I kind of had to have a major life lesson failure, which was the company right before Powur.
Okay.
Which I now understood was my master's degree.
Yes.
Powur would not have been successful at it if I didn't have this experience.
Interesting.
I had way too much overconfidence. I was too, success actually came a little too easy
Right.
in my 20s. And I kind of had this assumption that anything I did would be like that.
Right.
Which is a crock of shit.
Right.
You know, that's
Big
not
time.
how it works.
Right. And sometimes that happens to entrepreneurs. It does happen too
Oh,
fast,
yeah.
and then they think it's just going to go like that. I've seen that many times.
Everybody, we all make the same
Yep,
mistake. You
I
get
have.
success, and then you have an overconfidence
Yep.
cycle, and you apply, and you think everything you do is going to be successful.
right.
And you're wrong.
Right.
You know,
It's
it's
true.
not.
Yeah. Yep.
So I have this colossal failure, massive publicly. We launched this company, Ripplin. It goes to 1 million users. It was an app in 2013.
Damn.
And it became one of the most viral sensations in direct sales history. Problem was, I had no idea how to evaluate a business model. And the partners, I was an investor in the company. I came on as chief marketing officer. The partners really proposed a horrible plan. And the infrastructure of the business wasn't even there. There was absolute piss poor management, no real business plan, no real product to back anything up. The whole thing was like a house of cards.
Wow.
And I came in hot, put $250,000 into it, brought my whole network to this thing, and went all in.
Damn.
Just assuming that this was going to be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'd done no real due diligence and didn't understand what I now understand
Yes.
about how to make things work.
Yes.
So that extremely public, painful failure, and also painful financial failure.
Yeah.
I think I was out after all the bills I ended up covering and everything. I probably lost $400,000
Wow.
on that project in a span of 9 months. And so then I realized, if you can fail horrifically at things that you think are guaranteed bets and going to make you lots of money,
Right.
but aren't your real passions. I was
Right.
never really passionate about a communication app.
Right.
That wasn't what my purpose was. That wasn't the vision I got.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I was in it to make money.
Right.
So I thought this was going to make a bunch of easy money, and I would do this before I do the next big thing I'm really meant to do.
Got it.
And what a crock of shit. The universe
Right.
beat me over the head with that.
Yeah.
And so after that experience, I went, well, you know what, man? If you can fail on things you don't even want to be doing that you think are guaranteed bets, you might as well just fail at the thing you really want to be doing.
Wow.
Right? And, it was scary. It was a lot easier to launch a communication app than enter into the solar industry and try to figure out a model for whatever this vision was trying to tell.
Yes.
But after that Ripplin experience, I pretty much took all the money in my bank account and I just said, here we go. I
Wow.
wrote a $600,000 check at that time, which I thought was going to be everything we needed to launch, Come to find out it wasn't even close.
Right.
I would end up writing a lot more checks and draining every last dollar I had to keep Powur alive just in the first 12 months. And I went all in. So I think I probably knew it was going to be really hard, and I was avoiding it until I absolutely had to.
It's true. Like I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Exactly.
So because when you started Powur, it was a completely different model than it is now.
Oh my God.
It was because somebody introduced Powur to me maybe 2014 or 15, right?
Yeah.
I looked at it and I said, that's not for me. So when it was brought back to me in 2020, I said, I looked at it a couple years ago, it's not for me. They're like, no, you don't understand. It's not what it used to be before. Here were the words that they said to me. They said, it's the EXP, it's like an EXP of solar. That's what they said. And that stopped me in my tracks. I said, show me. I said, bullshit. Show me. Those were my exact words. I said, bullshit, show me. When they showed me what it was, I said, oh man, it's on. It's on. And like you, similar to you, right before Powur, in 2 years, I had 3 business failures. So you lose a lot of credibility, especially when these are businesses that you bring your networks to. Mm-hmm. So you might start off with a lot of credibility, but after one failure and another, it's like you got no more credibility. People started calling me a has-been, right? And I said, when I saw this, I said, you make more money with strangers than with people you know anyway. So I'm gonna just go meet a bunch of strangers, right? Yeah. But as far as, so then you guys, tell me about the switch that happened in 2019. You guys switched the Powur business model and.
Man, all I can say is that, you fight long enough and you fight hard enough and you never give up and you stay true and committed to the real reason that you're doing what you're doing, the real vision, the real purpose, and you'll have your breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And those breakthroughs, they need to come together in a special way.
Yeah.
No breakthrough is the same. Every breakthrough is unique for every individual.
Yes.
My breakthrough came at the consequence of a series of big life events, losing my mother to cancer, extremely quickly, and also being introduced to a transformational leadership program called Living Freedom. Those two things combining at once, I learned a whole new suite of skills for how to manage my emotions, energy, thoughts, beliefs, and ability to create and manifest in life.
Right.
And combined with the, sort of forcing function of death, that life is precious and time is not infinite and it's now or fucking never.
Right.
I was in a state of consciousness where I was able to make bold, big shifts and not give a shit, about anything other than why was I doing what I was doing.
Yes.
No more appeasing people, no more doing something for somebody else. It was a just clarity around pursuit of focus, a go big or go home strategy, and a surrender to the consequences. I don't care. I knew at the time that either this model would work and it would become absolutely huge, or the company would be bankrupt in 6 months.
Wow.
And I said, either one of those I'm okay with. I don't give a shit. Let's go.
It's like things don't happen to you, they happen for you. If it's gonna happen, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Exactly. I got to that point where I was like, I'm not playing small anymore.
Yeah.
If this thing is not going big, I'm out, and I'll find my next way to contribute to the world.
I see that.
Yeah.
We're in a very interesting time, and you are probably the most passionate person I hear talk about this, about the urgency, the real urgency that there is for us to change the way that we're living in this world, right? Could you address that a little bit? Because most people don't understand. They understand, they hear it in the news, they hear it in the background, but they don't really know the urgency of why we need to make some changes as humans.
It's super sad, man. I honestly, I did my major research and focus phase probably back in between 2014, 15, and 16.
Right.
But, I really talk to people, I'm like, how much time have you spent investing in your current career just to become halfway decent at it, right?
Right.
And then how much time do you need to invest to become an expert?
Yes.
A lot, right?
A lot.
And until you're an expert, you don't really know a whole lot,
Right.
So then I ask everybody, how much time have you invested in understanding climate change?
Not a lot of time.
Yeah. And that's what's utterly sad.
Yes.
Is that all of us, we don't invest in nothing.
Right.
We read a news article, we read of this, we read of that, and we assume we know. We don't know shit.
Right.
When you really invest the time in the research, the way you would when you're trying to learn how to be an expert at something,
Yes.
your whole perspective on the world will change. So I don't even really promote it much anymore because I just kind of feel like at this point, the world is on its own trajectory with this, and I just hope we get it right.
Wow.
But there's no question that the future that our children grow up in will be very different than the one we grew up in, and there's no changing. There's only slowing it down. So I don't think we're going to limit the temperature shift to 2 degree to less than 2 degrees Celsius. So when you dive in and you start understanding the real impacts of what could happen on this planet, between 2 to 5 degrees Celsius, you'll fight for it, right?
Yeah.
You'll fight. We should all be treating this like it's World War III.
Right.
Like every one of those carbon molecules are little Nazi soldiers that are coming to take our future.
Yes.
And we're just getting tiny little glimpses of it, man. I mean, the heat waves that are happening across the entire planet right now, we're going to look back on this 20 years from now, and we're going to be like, remember how good it was when it was 105 degrees outside?
Wow.
Remember how good that was?
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
There's humanity has made its choice. And at this point, unless there's a radical transformation around how we get the carbon back out of the atmosphere, we've already set the course, man. And now we're just trying to fight so that it does not go so over 2 degrees that we can't predict the kinds of things that could happen.
Got it.
The permafrost melting, which there's so much methane stored under that permafrost. That's the kind of thing that, it really could end life.
Yeah.
Like people don't understand, like there's mass extinctions that have happened on this planet 6 times.
Yes.
And every one of them was climate change related.
Wow.
Now, some of them were related to a meteor hitting.
Sure.
But the impact was it changed the climate.
Yeah.
Others were related to volcanic eruptions. The impact was it changed the climate.
Yeah.
So mass extinction happens through climatic change. And organisms cannot adapt to climatic change fast enough. If all of a sudden it's 20 degrees hotter and, there's massive implications on water across the planet, we can't even begin to wrap our brain around the trickle-down effect of that on organisms, and all the organisms that depend on those organisms, depend on those organisms, depend on those organisms, and how does that affect the whole chain?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's a compound effect.
It's so complex.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why people don't do the research, because it's so fucking complex.
That's true.
But until you dive into that complexity and really understand just how complex it is, you are clueless as to what we are playing with, the fire that we are playing with, which is why the best strategy is just don't play with fire.
Right.
Don't go there.
Right.
You want to have a strategy to make a great future? Just take the risk off the table. Don't play with fire.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we've got too many special interests. And, the fossil fuel industry and too many industries are so vastly large, and our global society is so dependent on trillions of dollars that are tied to really, carbon producing industries that, unwinding all that, wow, is that complex? And the solutions are even complex. You can't get all off oil. What the hell? We don't have an ability to get off oil. So it's like this is just such a complex thing. We really need all hands on deck, rebuilding the whole infrastructure from vehicles to transportation to heavy machinery to industrial and manufacturing to residential to appliances to electrification to energy generation. All of it. And, I am hopeful by the fact that I am, and we are all just one entrepreneur out of countless that are focused on solving these problems. But we sure got a lot more we got to do and a lot faster, brother.
Yeah. And entrepreneurs are the ones that are going to solve this, well, not solve it, but help aid, what's going on. And you certainly are, in my eyes, I mean, you're one of the ones in the world that's leading this, because the way that your company is growing and the impact that we're doing, when we look at those proposals and we see, how many tons of CO2 offset there is, right? And equivalent of how many trees that we're planting. When we're seeing that, hey, we're making a real impact. I really, being a father like you, I think now a lot more, and then being involved in this industry, those two things, being involved in this industry, being a father, I think of the world that I'm leaving for my kids and for other people's kids and grandchildren. I don't only want to leave better kids for this planet, but I want to leave a better planet for these kids in the future generation. So when I heard you talking about it, matter of fact, in that stage back there, you were very passionate one day, and then at the convention, when they were talking about some of those things, I mean, I think there wasn't a single eye that wasn't crying, right? People were walking. I saw a lady walk out of the room crying and stuff. It was just,
and that's the right emotion.
Yeah.
We should be crying.
Right.
When you see 50% of all species of life on Earth have been extincted over the last 100 years. And that is just going to accelerate.
Right.
Because of how we are changing the climate.
Yep.
You should cry.
Yeah.
Those are life forms that are extinct. They're never coming back.
Man, that's crazy.
And that's us.
Yeah.
We should cry.
Right.
We should be upset.
Yeah.
It's natural.
Yeah.
We got to change. And I think the healthy embracing of those emotions helps us change our behavior.
Yeah.
And there's real behavior change. And, we're fighting for that future, man. So.
Well, you're one of the people leading the way, so I thank you for that. As far as the company is concerned, Powur is concerned, where do you see this particular company in the next 10, 15 years?
Oh, man. Getting as big as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I want to take a megaphone to the global stage.
Right.
And be one of the shining, bright stars of world leadership for how companies and organizations should show up and act and create in this era that we're living in today.
Wow.
That, the careers that we choose, how we earn our money, the decisions we make as a business, the products that we get behind, it's all aligned as to building this, new, sustainable, empowered future that's really going to set humanity up to thrive.
Right.
And that we are going to be the examples of that, and we're going to blow it up, and we're going to put it on the global stage, and companies all over the world will look at the people of power, and they will be like, we need to follow their example. We need to be more like them.
Wow.
That motivates me more than anything, honestly. Obviously the impact of the product, I think we can make a real dent. Right. I think as this company goes to scale, the vision is we got to blow way past what anyone's ever done.
Right.
And that's really, 30,000 installs a month. Right. We need to get to a point where we have created a model and a platform that is able to sell and fulfill clean energy projects with an amazing customer experience and so efficient in a way that none of the previous models have been able to do.
Yeah.
And there's so much innovation required to do that, and that's really where all of my focus and what I want the team's focus on being is arriving to that point where we are selling and fulfilling more clean energy projects than anyone in history. And I think our impact will be massive just from that. We'll probably make a dent in 1%. Maybe we could make a dent in 0.5% or 1%. But really, it's the leadership. Because if we can inspire others to go do that, then maybe we get from our 0.5% to 20% or 30%. We make a real meaningful dent in the acceleration of sustainable energy and carbon sequestration in the world.
That's awesome.
That's what motivates me, man. Then you break everything else down from there. That's the vision. Now it's like, okay, how?
Right.
And what are all the methodologies and what are all the tools and what are all the strategies and what's the plan and what are the businesses and verticals and products and But as long as I and we are crystal clear on the end vision, the end goal, this is why we're doing what we're doing, then we will be compelled to reach that why. And the how emerges. And this is what I think people often mistake about creation is They're very focused on the outcome and the how, but you don't get innovative ideas when your goal is, okay, I'm going to make $100 million.
Right.
Well, that's not a very compelling why. So then you go to the how, and you've kind of got a lot of weak ideas.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of times you just see subpar execution and lack of innovation, and it's all because of the thinking and the mindset.
Right.
When the why is
Clear.
how the do we sell and install more clean energy projects than anyone in history?
Right.
Facilitate these transactions, unlock scale, so that we can really make a dent. Now you open up a creative process where it's like, okay, let's get those ideas on the table.
Yes.
And then that creative process leads to innovation, and it leads to all sorts of things. So, there's a method to the madness.
I see that, absolutely. One thing that I love about Powur and about your vision is that we're not just a solar company, right? We are a platform. And the vision for the things that you want to include in the future, if you could touch on that, right? Like solar panels we're doing, right? Roofs. What are some of the other things that you envision in the future that Powur may offer?
I mean, I think there's a very near-term roadmap for solar plus product adjacencies.
Okay.
So, I view, again, like a focus on the core. Like solar, generating energy from the sun is the game changer.
Yes.
That's the big
Absolutely.
idea. So that's our core. So we stay laser focused on our core. We drive that core to tens of thousands of installations a month. There's adjacencies that I think fit really easily into that core. If I can click a button on the proposal and add an electric HVAC, add an electric heat pump, add sidings and some insulation, add a turf lawn, because water is going to be a massive issue in our future. These are just adjacencies, right? These are parallel pathways where it's like, boom, this project just opens up a separate work queue in our fulfillment platform, notifies that contractor, this team has it, and it's like adjacent.
Wow.
So I see that as like, we're just going to start getting these done starting in 2023. We're redoing product architecture right now so that these adjacencies can be standalone products. It's not an adder on the proposal. It's like, these are new products. They're priced differently. There's margin on them. There's project management on them. There's fulfillment on them. It's all a solid architecture for the model of the new products. That's coming Q1 2023. I hope we'll be there.
Wow.
And I think you'll just start to see these things phase in.
Yeah.
From that point forward, phase them all in. You start getting the non-core products, and like we've got a lot of ideas on the table there, but they're non-core.
Sure.
And I think that's more like, okay, when are we really ready for that?
Right.
And like those can sometimes be distracting to the core and take our eye off the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot more hesitant to bring those into the mix. But rest assured, there's a suite of ideas there, and when the time's right, when we hit the 30,000 a month, everybody, when we're at our peak, and like this is it, like we've reached the top. Now you start adding in a lot of the non-core stuff, and I would expect there to be a catalog of types of services and different things we can begin to offer our homeowners and network that's
cool.
Really are quite robust.
Yeah. See, that's a vision. That's a visionary that I saw, and I said, man, I could get behind this guy. I tell people, when I partner up with a company, I think, if I was a betting man, would I bet on this executive team? And when I saw you and your executive team, you, Jim Bunch, and everybody you've got around you, I said, hell yeah, I'd bet on this team. So let's go. If this is the right industry, I need to find the right company for me. Yeah. When I saw, this is not just a solar company, man. And the vision isn't just, to sell a lot of solar. It's to make a genuine impact in the lives of those that, whether they believe in the vision or they don't believe in the vision, they believe in renewable energy or not, we know that we're going to make a positive impact in those people's lives.
We do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna help you get to those 30,000, brother. I'm doing
That's
my part
right,
every
man.
day, man. Every day doing my part.
We're getting there.
Yes. Well, if you were a consultant, right, a power consultant on the field, right, a lot of power consultants are going to watch this. I want to hear from Jonathan Budd. If you were a consultant on the field, you've got experience in direct sales. You're the man, right? What is it that you'd be focused on?
Well, I mean, the game's always changing, right?
Sure.
So, you got to keep your feet to the ground on the right marketing strategies and tactics. And I'm no longer the person that is the expert in those areas, right?
Sure.
My feet is to the ground on being a CEO of a solar company, and it's a different skill set. So where I would focus though is, tactics is 10% of success always. 90% of freaking success is perception. It is who you are. So, the real focus is on who are you?
Yeah.
You had, when you came into Powur, JC, I remember the declaration you made.
Yeah.
This was fucking personal for you.
Yeah.
This was not like something you were trying out.
No.
This was not something that, hey, let's see how this goes.
Right.
This was not, whoa, this sounds good. This was personal.
Yep.
This was a mountain that you had to climb.
Yeah.
And you had a reason to climb it that was so meaningful to you that you would do anything to get to the top of that freaking mountain. Your life was on the line.
Yeah.
And for entrepreneurs, arriving at that place where it's all on the line for you, and you will do anything to get to the top of the mountain, and this is personal.
Yes.
There's a reason why you got to do this. That's the real deep work people need to do. And then once you've done that deep work and you've gotten yourself to that point, and you've gotten real and honest and authentic with yourself, and you've let go of some of the BS and the excuses and the bullshit and the stories and the blah, 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 and you've actually discovered who you are.
Right.
Like, who am I? And what am I really meant to do in this world? Step one.
Yeah.
Now you're ready to go succeed.
Right.
You're now ready. You're ready to get on the battlefield with the other warriors.
Yes.
Because you know who you are and why the hell you're doing it.
Right.
You've arrived.
Yes, sir.
Focus on that shit. Now that you've arrived, okay, let's look at all our weapons, right? But at the end of the day, nothing's going to beat just pure, raw, unadulterated freaking hustle.
Right.
This industry is an industry that is predicated on relationships. Solar is a relationship product.
Yes.
You get out there and you let the world know in any way, whether it's social media, whether it's networking, whether it's personal referrals, whether it's door knocking, whether it's lead generation or advertising or, whatever it is.
Yep.
You get out there and you let the world know that I'm your man or woman. I'm your man or woman.
Yes.
For this product, for this industry at this time. I will take care of you. I'm your guy, I'm your gal. Trust me.
I love it.
And you deliver a sensational experience to them. You care about them. You listen to Fred's talk about winning on purpose and customer satisfaction and the real principles that drive referrals. Forget it.
Right.
Somebody spends 6-12 months dedicated to that process. I had a buddy in here, brand new to solar, didn't know crap about solar.
Right.
6 months ago, 8 months ago, went through the learning curve, found his why, did it, and now he's got more referrals, more people coming at him from his church group, from his friends, from his everywhere, and he's just like, this thing is snowballing.
Wow.
Success happens in that order.
Yes.
It's not the tactics, it's the clarity of who you are, why you do what you do, and the pursuit of your vision, your daily discipline, your all-out hustle, and pick your tactic, pick your strategy, pick the way you want to go talk to people every day.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Love it. I love it. I tell my team in the Fast Start training, I say, you got to get, as soon as humanly possible, 200 people that know beyond the shadow of a doubt, that are like your raving fans, that you're the solar guy or girl.
Yeah.
That's what I say. You got to get two. There's no way. And your business card nowadays is your social media profile. They got to know on social media. Even if you're brand new, I don't have an install, but guess what? I can share this guy's install. I can share that person's install. Another customer went solar. I'm not lying. I'm not saying they went solar with me, but they did go solar with my company. But 200 people, as soon as humanly possible, need to know that you do solar. It's going to be impossible. If you carry yourself like a professional and these people know, you're going to start getting some traction. People are going to start referring you business. And before you know it, you got more business than you can handle. We see that happen all the time.
That's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is based on when each of us as professionals crosses that threshold.
Yeah.
Where we've put in enough time, enough energy, we've refined ourselves enough, and we've done the work that the boulder gets over the mountain and it starts to fall down the other side.
Yeah.
You're pushing up, 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 and you get to a point and all of a sudden the momentum is on your side.
That's awesome.
And you got to be the one to get it up and then let the momentum fall. And I think so many people quit on the way up.
Yeah.
You know, oh, this fucking boulder's heavy. Well, no shit, you know, but that's your job.
Right.
Did you not realize you were signing up to get the boulder to the top of the mountain?
Right.
So that it could then fall over the other side.
That's awesome.
And so you're quitting your job halfway up, you know.
Right.
Don't quit.
Yes.
Just keep going until the damn thing is at the top of the mountain.
That's right.
And then let it fall over the side. And everybody who does that and gets to that other side, they got the life.
That's right. And the view's so much better from that top.
The view is a lot better.
It absolutely is. And it feels so good, right? I tell people, listen, man, you don't want things to be easy. You don't want everybody to tell you yes, man, because you're not relatable to nobody. You imagine making $1 million income, passive income. Yeah, man, everybody I talked to said yes to me. Everybody I asked to buy solar bought from me. Who the hell are you going to relate with? Yeah. Nobody. One day you're going to wish that you had more of these challenges in your life. Yeah. You're going to wish one day you have more challenges to tell more stories.
That's the truth.
Some of these war stories and stuff. So quit wanting what you don't want is what I tell people. But to close off, I got two questions for you to close off. I know you're a busy man. And again, I'm very grateful for you coming on here. 3 attributes of a successful entrepreneur. A lot of entrepreneurs watch the podcast. People from different industries. Off the top of your head, if you had to say, hey, these, in my opinion, are the 3 attributes of a successful entrepreneur, what would those be?
Well, I think, there's many different types of successful entrepreneurs out there. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of it is getting to know yourself and kind of exploiting your greatest strengths. So, I'll try to look inside and just say, okay, here's an example of that I can do for myself. So, I mean, number one, for me, it's vision. Honestly, it's being connected to something bigger than myself. It's taking the time and energy and prioritizing, that time to just be, whether that's through meditation, yoga, hiking in nature, or just thinking, resting. There's some type of way I prioritize connecting to my higher power, my higher self, and life itself. Yeah. And I get lots of creativity and inspiration from that. And that's a huge attribute to my personal success, is the visions that I've been blessed with. Those visions are really a big part of it. And then, number 2, I don't know how the best way to say this is, but there's got to be just like this dogged determination. It's one thing to have the vision and the why, but then that's got to get compared with this, like, you'll have to kill me to stop me from doing this.
Wow.
There's a level of just like fighter spirit.
Yeah.
And this is just unique to me. It's different for everybody. I know you got the fighter spirit, but I got the fighter spirit. Yeah. And I fight. And so there's this feeling of, you have to fucking kill me to stop me from achieving this goal. Like, I am going to either achieve this or die.
Right.
And that might be like a little extreme
I get
but
it.
I'm just sharing with you the truth, right?
Yes,
this is how it works for me.
Right,
so,
right.
take everything with a grain of salt, but it does work.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
So there's this level of just absolute personal determination where it's like, I'm not going to give up. And then number 3, this is one I've come to really appreciate a lot more over the last few years, and I've seen this like really emerge as a quality that very successful people of all types have, but it's just sense making.
Okay.
It's and if you don't if that's not a relatable word, it's like, okay, critical thinking.
Yeah.
Do you think well about things? Do you think well about reality?
Yeah.
Are the choices and decisions you make correct more than they are false or incorrect? Right? And there's a real skill. And if I look at one thing in this world right now that is missing, holy shit, are we bad at thinking? Yeah. We just have this like unfiltered kind of like process where it's like there's so much information coming in everyone all the time, and we don't have a good process for making sense of it all and then arriving at the truth and a true conclusion. And why did we arrive at this true conclusion? And why are we going to make this decision behind anything?
Yeah.
Why am I going to post this on social media? Yeah. Why am I going to choose to launch this product? Why am I going to choose to call this person? Why am I going to choose to be in this relationship? Why am I going to choose to go out and hang out with my friends right now?
Yeah.
If there's not this like critical thinking process
Right.
that allows you to arrive at good decisions,
Yeah.
then generally people make bad decisions.
That's true. That's true.
And poor or mediocre decisions
Right.
lead to poor or mediocre results.
Right.
The people that are freaking correct about making the powerful and right decisions more often than not
Yeah.
are the ones who like are really successful.
Makes sense.
And so you need a process. You need a process for how you get to good decisions and real accurate thinking about the world, right? Arriving at the truth. What is real? What is not?
Right. Right.
So those three things, I
love it.
really have come to value the third, because as an executive
Yeah.
running a high functioning business,
Yes.
there's a forcing function where, wow, if you're wrong about reality frequently,
Yeah.
you're dead.
Yeah.
So you have to be right.
Right.
You have to be. You know, if you don't make the correct decisions and choices, you lose millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Or worse.
The stakes are high.
The stakes are very high.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that, you know, as you move up the ranks of successful people, there's this critical thinking ability and process that everyone has, or more people have, to make the right choices.
Wow. I love that. Such a simple one, but such a powerful one, that third one is, right? And a lot of times it's common sense, right? Some of these things about making those right decisions and stuff. And yeah, it's true. If you make more right decisions throughout the day, and you know, it's such common sense,
It's
right?
logical, but
common sense
it's
is very
hard.
common. Yeah, exactly. It's true. The last question for you, Mr. Bud. How do you want to be remembered? We're not going to be here forever. None of us are going to be here forever. But we some people are never going to be remembered for anything, right? How do you want to be remembered when you're no longer here?
You know, hopefully well. You know?
I'm sure that's for sure.
Hopefully
I think that's a
somebody
given.
cared. You know, and somebody's like, he was a good dude. You know? We'll see, man. I mean, you know, I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to try to play the biggest possible game I can play. I'm going to try to make the greatest contribution I can make to this world and the people in it and the people whose lives I touch. And I'm going to try to do it from a place of earnest, authentic love and care for humanity and for people.
Right.
And that's it. And the reason why I'm going to try to do that is because that feels good to do.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
Nothing more than just the fulfillment of it itself.
Yeah.
And if I eventually arrive one day at a place where I impacted the world enough to be remembered for something, awesome. You know, that will be fantastic.
Wow.
And but I'm going to work really hard just to do the first thing.
Well, in my opinion, you're on track to do exactly that. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking the time, Mr. Bud. It's such an honor. I know you get pulled every single week, asked to do interviews and whatnot, and you coming on here and sharing this knowledge. I'm going to be watching this and taking notes, okay, because you share a lot of nuggets with people, whether they're part of this industry or not, right? So again, Mr. Bud, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Hey, JC, I love you, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Love you too.
Glad to be here. It was truly my honor.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you guys coming on here. Hope you guys took some notes. Make sure you guys share this video. And with that being said, I'll see you guys at the top or from the top. Take care.